I am hoping today's video does not end up like this. But it is very well possible because this week my beloved Toyota Matrix daily driver threw a low oil pressure light on the dash. So as some of you or most of you know, this car I got for $600 probably about 6 years ago and threw the MR2 drivetrain in it, and it's been running ever since. I didn't have a ton of knowledge on the drivetrain other than it was a rebuilt engine from Jasper Engines. So all I can say is this car owes me nothing. $600. I've put almost 100,000 miles on it, and it has honestly given me no issues since then, other than just a few little maintenance things. So all I could think whenever the light came on was, man, if this car can just get me home, then I'll be happy. I was about 20 minutes away. I was like, if it can get me the rest of the way home without blowing up, I will be completely happy. And it did. It was running great the whole way home. The light was on the whole way home, and I got it home and shut it off. So it's still a possibility that the engine is good. It's still a possibility that I can save it. I just don't know how yet. So if I can save it, which I really hope I can, I have some cool things planned for it to clean it up and kind of make it nice again. And what I'll say is, if it does get running again and I get the oil pressure situation saved, I'm going to take this as a cry from the Matrix that it has been neglected, because as you can see, it is toasted in the front. I mean, this thing is just in terrible shape, and it's just been like that forever. I've been putting a ton of miles on it. So if I can save the engine, a little bit of a refresh on the car. If not, it'll probably go to the scrap yard. I hate to say it, there's some issues with it that I'll fix if the engine's good. If the engine's not good, the chassis is gonna get gone. So I'm gonna pull that into the garage and see if I can save it. We have a full house in here right now with the LS RX-8. Not really working on it, but just storing it in the garage. The Celica, the stanced out TRD Celica, is also in the garage, chilling. I got it all cleaned up. So I'm just trying to keep it clean. And then we also got, obviously, the 2ZZ supercharged MR2 that I'm working on. So just got the water to air intercooler system set up. So that thing will be all ready to make 8 pounds of boost, and we're getting really close. So just some small things to go on that. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, the other projects I got going on, go ahead and subscribe. Also, quick plug here, just for fun, just for you guys. I have a bunch of these GA Stance House stickers. So I got sticker on there, sticker here where my keys hang, sticker on the Celica. If you're interested in those, we still got a surplus of them. Go ahead and just DM me on Instagram. Let me know you subscribe to the channel, and I'll send one of those to you, or a couple of them, on the house, no charge. So feel free to go ahead and DM me. And yeah, like I said, all you have to do is subscribe if you enjoy the content. Let's go ahead and get this Matrix into the garage. Okay, so I actually did start the car up to pull it into the garage, and the check engine light's off. So basically whenever it came on, it was only on, oh, there we go, okay. There it comes. So it's flickering on. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it, but we're gonna find out. All right, so first thing to do, which I think is obvious, is to drain the oil. Obviously, if there's like metal shavings in there, you know, glittery look, probably gonna be that the engine's no good without a rebuild. Yeah, let's go ahead and drain the oil and pop the filter off and see if we find anything interesting. I don't see anything particularly wrong with the oil. I made sure this pan was clean before I drained it, so I'm not seeing any glitter or metal. So let me get a magnet and just verify that. I will say that this oil had almost 5,000 miles on it, so it's not the cleanest oil, but not seeing any metal. So I'd say that's a good first start. All right, so here's the deal. I already committed myself to taking the oil pan off. I didn't find anything weird in the oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the oil pan off, look up in there, see if maybe the pickup tube is clogged up, or see if I can see anything else. Maybe I'll get a better idea if something is just worn out and ruined. The only thing I won't be able to find out tonight, I think, is if the oil pump is bad. I do have the new oil pump that I put on the Celica engine, but then I took that engine out and it's just sitting over in the corner here. So that has a brand new oil pump on it. So if I can't figure it out after this oil change and after I drop the pan, I may replace that oil pump and see if that fixes it. We'll see. The pickup tube really is not that bad. So there are a few little specks of RTV in there, but not enough to clog it up completely. Everything else looks, I mean, semi-clean, I'd say. Looks like a high mileage engine, which at this point it is. While I'm putting this thing back together, I'm gonna go ahead and steal this GlowShift Oil Pressure Gauge. This was supposed to be on the MR2. I'll just order another one for that, or if I, solve my problem, I'll take it back off of this car. But I have the gauge, and then I also have this adapter, so I'm gonna just pull the oil pressure sensor out of the engine, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and swap this sensor onto it. Just one more thing that I can try to help change it. Maybe the sensor's going bad, I don't know. But I'll throw that sensor in the matrix. I will throw the gauge in as well, and put a new filter, fill it with oil, put the pan back on. Swap those two, put the pan back on, fill it with oil, and then see if any difference is made. If the light is still on, I guess I'll just use the GlowShift gauge to tell me, if I have good oil pressure or not. Like maybe something's faulty in the ECU. Who really knows? I don't know. But if I have oil pressure and I have a GlowShift gauge telling me so, then I may be able to keep driving this thing. So we'll see. Again, if I have low oil pressure, it still could be the pump, and at that point we'll have to cross that bridge. So let's go ahead and pull that oil sensor out, plug this gauge sensor in, and start putting everything back together. If you've never installed one of these oil pressure gauges, or similar to be like a fuel pressure gauge or a coolant temp gauge, basically you can tap into your engine with those sensors. So these threads, the NPT threads, are usually common sizes that you'd find in an engine block or a coolant port or whatever. If not, you can always get adapters. It's really pretty straightforward. And in this case, I needed an adapter because I still wanted my stock sensor in, which is usually the case. So these gauges are really pretty easy to install. So you have your gauge, and then you have two harnesses. So one harness will plug directly into the back of the gauge and then directly into your sensor. So that one's super simple, just plug and play. And then your second harness is this one here, which is a little bit more involved. So it plugs into your gauge, and it has 4 wires hanging out. One of them is going to be ground, and then you're going to have yellow, red, and orange, which per the instructions that come with it, they're super simple. You're going to have a constant source. So you could tap that into one of your fuses that would be constant source, like maybe your cigarette lighter is a constant, don't quote me on that. And then you're going to have a switched power, and then if you want, you can also tap it into your headlight fuse, which basically would dim the gauge whenever your headlights are on. Again, super simple. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this into my T-fitting, and then I'll start wiring up the gauge. While all my RTV was drying, I decided to go ahead and find my power sources for the gauge. So up underneath the dash here, you can see I got some fuse taps up in that fuse box. So I went ahead and found a switch power and a constant power for the gauge. I did decide that for now I'm not going to hook up a dimmer because I would go to the fuse box in the engine bay. So for now I'm not going to hook that up. I did extend the switch, the constant power, and the ground that goes to the gauge. And then I also have the sensor plug here. And then I also stole one of my gauge pods that I got for the MR2 just to put that on the dash for now. That way I have a spot to put that. I have another one on the way already for the MR2. So by the time I get to that, that'll be here. Now that the RTV has been sitting for over an hour, I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up with oil, and then we'll get the gauge hooked up and see what happens. I still need to route the wires, but they are all hooked up, so it's time to plug in the gauge and see if it works, I guess. There you go. I got oil in the engine. I got my gauge wired up. So that means it is time to start this thing and see what happens. A little scary, but we'll see if the matrix is saved or not. This is the moment of truth. All right, here goes nothing. That looks good for a cold start. 80 PSI seems pretty normal. So it's coming on again, but so we've got oil pressure, but the light is still coming on. I don't know why I ever question this thing. It's running mint. Starting to think something's just wrong in the wiring. So light is still flickering, but we're still at 70 PSI. That should come down once the engine's warmed up. So keep tabs on that. All right, guys, we're gonna go for a little test drive in the matrix. So far, so good. Up to temp. Oil pressure's still looking good. At idle, got the clutch in right now. We're still around 20 PSI, which is normal. Whenever you're up to temp, so, and then shoots right back up whenever you get on rev. So we're looking good right now. For now, this is a win. The matrix is gonna live on and keep going. Like I said, now that I know the engine is good, I do have some things I want to clean up on it, and that'll make for some good videos in the future. So stay tuned for that stuff. Anyways, I'm not gonna ramble anymore. I'm glad the matrix is still gonna be the daily driver. So yeah, stay tuned for more cool stuff in the garage. See you guys later.